Welcome to An Aries and Pisces Walk Into a Coffee Shop, the podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Brigitte, she, her.
And I'm Tiffany, she, her. This is a podcast where two friends let go of perfectionism and talk unedited.
I don't know why I just get so giggly when the thing starts counting down.
It's so strangely official and strange. It's like the studio audience is waiting for something to happen, right? The 5, 4, 3.
Yeah.
Oh, and then what? Because normally there's a soundtrack or
I could play that
song.
I could play the clapping. Should I play the clapping?
Sure.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Everyone's very
Was that so loud? It sounded so loud.
Oh, it didn't sound overly
in
loud.
my headphones. I was like, we're gonna be just killing people's eardrums.
Depends if they're wearing headphones or not, because it sounded fine to me.
Okay.
Or not only is my microphone not the best, but maybe also my speakers aren't the best. Well, I'm not sure.
It's what we've got. It's in my partner's family, they have this saying where they say, it's good enough for who it's for.
It's good enough for who it's for. That feels very Midwestern to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it nonsense phrases, but kind of like a nonsense phrase.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels kind of degrading.
Yeah. It's good enough for who it's for. They're not worth something better.
Yeah. Yeah. But I still think it's funny.
It is funny. I
like
weird little Midwestern sayings. Although I was watching a video where there was this Irish woman, I think. Irish woman, who was talking about all the nonsense phrases that are common slang. They're phrases that you just say to fill the silence. If you feel like there's a lull in conversation, there's just stock phrases, I think is the way she called it. And so
saying,
similar to that, but different Irish ones. And some of them are more phrases, more of a longer phrase, but now I can't remember. One of them was just a noise. It was just and this is an Irish noise that you make, when it's it could mean a lot of things. It means you have nothing to contribute, but you felt like you should say something. It can mean you agree. It can mean that you just thought you should show someone that you are in fact still participating in the conversation. But it's just a vocal noise to be yeah, still here, I guess. I was oh, this is fascinating.
I'm still participating. I don't know what. When you said noise, I thought of this thing. I'm full of things that other people say.
Mm-hmm.
My partner says this, I think, because his mom says it. Listen, they're ridiculous and funny, and I know you know, but
I've heard
a noise. A noisy noise annoys an oyster.
Wow. Oh, that's impressive.
He loves to say that. I've just heard it enough. I've just heard it enough. I also wanted to let you know that I came into today with a small list of talking points.
Oh, look at you writing down a list. Okay. You want to tell me about it?
Yeah, well, it was that thing of, when we send Marco Polos to each other, and it's you just gotta take notes of what you want to talk about so you can remember. And I just felt like I had things come up that I was like, oh, I want to talk to Tiffany about this. So instead of doing the thing where I am like, I'll remember it later, because
Mm-hmm.
that may or may not happen, I
Right.
said, Bridget, do what you do, use your Notion inbox and make a little list.
Uh-huh,
And
uh-huh.
so I allowed myself to do that. And I have my little list and I feel really good.
Good. I'm very impressed. One day I will probably also use Notion for these kinds of things. I did play around a little bit more, so I'm on my way.
Yeah, so would you like to hear one of
Yes,
the
of course.
talking points? I also just think that talking points, the phrase talking points, sounds hilarious. It
Yes.
sounds hilarious to me.
Like like news anchor formal.
Yeah, or like I'm just picturing going on a date and having like pulling out a piece of paper that has like bullet points on it of things to talk about.
It's like um it's like a panel in a tell me you're neurodivergent without saying what your neurodivergence is. And it's like, I'm just pulling out a list on this date of talking points. First one is.
I do think that that is, though, that would be the difference between like going out on like first dates versus like dates. Like if I were going out on a date with you, I would feel like 1,000% comfortable like pulling out the piece of paper, or
Mm,
in this case my phone,
yep.
and being like, oh my god, this is what I wanted to talk to you about, versus like if I was meeting somebody new, I don't think that I wouldn't have that. It would be a completely different kind of a list because I wouldn't know what I would want to talk to this person about, I think. So it would be more of like the talking points that are like just like generic, like these are things you could talk about with another person.
This is how humans do it.
I don't, I've never thought about doing that though.
I was going to make a joke about like, oh, where are you from? But that's actually a really interesting question to ask when you live in Chicago because
Hmm.
I don't know all kinds of answers.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of us are transplants out here. So
Huh.
it is kind of interesting, but I think in our area it would be a lot less interesting because mostly people that live there have lived there.
Hmm. Forever.
Hmm. Yeah.
Forever. Okay. Are you ready
Hmm.
for a really big realization that
Okay.
I made yesterday? Okay, prepare yourself. It's about the cold plunge, the cold
Oh,
plunge of it all.
okay.
You already know how I feel about the cold plunge. It's
Hmm.
a big fat no,
Hmm.
especially because A, I don't like being cold, and B, I don't like getting wet. So the thought of like a cold shower, whatever, like, no, thank you, hate it. I keep trying it because I want the fucking benefits. Like I keep just grinning my teeth. Like, when is it gonna work, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then, so yeah, this was yesterday. It was sunnier and it's starting to get like a little warmer out.
Hmm.
And it was warm enough. We were doing stuff, so like I was just warm. And we took our shower and it was like warm in the bathroom, and I'm in the shower and nearing the end of the shower, I'm rinsing my hair out. The water's starting to get a little colder. And I just let it be like that. And it all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, holy shit. I was like, you don't do a cold plunge in the winter because I'm already so fucking uncomfortable in
Mm,
so many different ways during the winter
yeah.
that like why would I go and add on another layer of discomfort? Like
Okay.
I'm like this is why I'm not getting any benefit out of it because I'm already so uncomfortable. You
Hmm.
do the fucking cold plunge in the middle of the summer when I'm feeling great, like my body's
Mm,
feeling better overall, like I'm just feeling more comfortable in a bunch of different ways. I'm like not as depressed. All of the things that come with
yeah.
summer being my favorite. And I was like, that's when I do it because that's when
Oh,
it would be beneficial to like bring in the discomfort of, so you can
hmm.
grow in all the ways that a cold plunge is good for your system. I felt like a goddamn genius in that moment for myself. I was like, quit trying to do this. Quit trying to torture yourself in the middle of winter.
Yeah, because
Just do that. Yeah.
you're already at like a depleted place.
Why would I want to keep trying to bring it down more?
So I am curious what happens in the middle of the summer when we revisit this talking point.
Yes. um, well, I already like I have I have a feeling that okay. I'm interested in going at it from this perspective because I know that like sometimes in the summer I just like super hot. I get in the shower and I'm not going to turn the water on like scalding hot. Like I would actually like enjoy a kind of like crisp, refreshing shower.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, well, if I turn it to like the even colder then in that moment and like you're jumping into a cold pool, which
Hmm.
I hate that. But like, I feel like I would be more likely to be like, okay, I can handle this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a feeling. Yeah. I have like, cause when I try to do it now, I hate it so much.
I
And
understand.
I hate it. And then I just get angry. And my
Sure.
partner's like, why do you keep trying to do that? You just get angry. And I'm like, yeah,
Great question.
I want the benefits. I'm so like, give me the benefits. All the people online say that it works. So why isn't it working for me?
I mean, the only time a cold plunge has ever worked for me was that one time in that lake. That's it. Like, showers are not it. I can't do the shower thing. And then the idea of filling up my tub with cold water makes my whole spirit
Oh, no.
like a tub of cold water. That's so sad to me. But I think that there's something to be said for the plunge part of the plunge, which is why I think the showers aren't working for me. Because there's no like
Mhm.
plunging with a
Right.
shower, just
There's
tiny
no,
needles.
yes, tiny needles. Yes. Yeah, because you can't just like if you jump into a pool, you just jump into a pool, right? It's just like at all at once. But
Mm-hmm.
you can't jump into a shower. It's like
No.
it's touching my shoulder and then it's like touching my butt and it's touching my
Yeah,
like I
this
can't get
exact
my
dance,
I
this thing.
can't
Yes. That's how I feel about it too. Like I said, the only time it's ever worked is when I was desperate to just be in a lake for the last time before it was going to be like winter. And yeah, it was like at the very tail end and it was supposed to be warmer that day and it just wasn't. And I was like, I don't care. I'm going into this lake because I want to. I drove all the way here for this. And so I did it and I had regret for a second. But then once I got to my collarbones, I was like, oh, this is what they're talking about. Like, I got it. Like, I left that lake not feeling my toes and just giddy, like belly laughs. I couldn't believe I did it. It's so stupid. And I feel amazing. Then I just did it a couple more times.
Oh yeah, that's something. That's like when my partner and I said, it wouldn't it be funny if we had sex outside on the deck in the snow?
Yeah, right in the snow.
Open the back door, and like the snow is like, just got to be careful that the snow doesn't start like coming in the house.
Yep.
And then it was like, I tried to put like one foot out there. No, thank you.
Oh, like the little cat paw nope.
Yes, that's me. So we just left the door open and we're like, that's close enough.
Yeah. And you did it. It's practically a cold plunge.
Oh gosh. Yeah, practically.
You know what our problem is that we live in the United States where like the whole sauna culture isn't a thing because like cultures that have saunas like have that like you go into a hot sauna and then you throw yourself into the banks of snow. But we don't have the
Okay,
sauna
but
part,
that makes so much more sense to me because
doesn't it?
then you're like hot. You're like, yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
good to get cold. I feel like I would be, I don't know. Yeah, that makes more sense, I guess.
And I mean, even like the Korean spas that are out here, it's like a similar. So there's like the wet area and then the drier area. So when you are in the wet area, like there's multiple different types of pools that are all different temperatures from like scalding really hot. And then there's the one where it's like, it's not cold, but comparatively, it's like chill. And
Mhm.
that one has like a circulating, like waterfall elements, and it does feel kind of like not frigid. Like if you were to go to that one first, you'd be like, "Oh, this is a little chilly." But like once you go into like the hot or lukewarm pool and then go into that, it feels wild and really good, especially if you like go from that really hot one because you are uncomfortable in a different way.
Mhm.
And I think that it's just the states haven't been doing things right culturally for a long time. And
They got, they haven't been doing a lot of things, right?
yeah. So I don't think it's us. I think it's them. The paradigm, I mean, the very big overarching them.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's been going on your side of the planet?
um,
You're not very far from
I'm
me
not
in terms of the whole planet.
right.
But
I mean, are we talking like what are you asking me?
just anything you might want to share.
Um,
If nothing, I can always use one of my other talking points.
I mean, I don't mind a talking point.
Okay.
What you got?
So I also wanted to share with you a a proud moment
Mm, mm-hmm.
that came from a a not proud moment, I guess, or like a an
You did a good
overwhelmed.
job
Yeah, I did a
when
good
something
job.
was hard.
Yeah. So, and I had lots of thoughts in my head about it at the
Mm-hmm.
time, but we went to we went to Barnes and Noble, of course, to get the good coffee and the cookie,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a different person behind the
Oh.
counter. So, and they seemed like they were like new and didn't know exactly what they were doing, and
Mm,
that kind of like flustered energy, I was like totally picking up on it. And I really wanted to get a coffee. I don't usually get a coffee, only like sometimes. And I really wanted one, but I didn't know what I wanted.
mm,
And the menu at Barnes and Noble is like they serve Starbucks stuff, but it's kind of different. It doesn't
okay.
have like everything on
Right.
it. And I was just feeling overwhelmed because I didn't know what I wanted. We were right there, like ordering, and I was looking at the menu, and I literally like I couldn't comprehend any of it.
Yep.
Like I was doing that thing where like I'm looking at one part and then I'm looking at another part and then I'm looking at another part and then I can't just like go in order, and I couldn't make myself like figure out what anything was on the menu
Right.
to make a decision, to make anything. And then I was like, I'm panicking.
Of course.
And then
Hmm.
and then I was like, oh my God, I'm panicking.
Yep, I know this
And then
dance
I was,
so well.
and then I was like, I'm running out of time. Like, and then I was like, then I had the thought, like, is she even going to get the drink right if I order
Yeah.
something? And, I was like, oh my God, am I going to cry? And then I was like, I don't want to cry right here in this line. And I looked at my partner and I was like, I really want a drink. I can't read the menu. Can we go to Starbucks?
Oh.
And I even had that thought in my mind of like, we're literally here at the cafe ordering.
Hmm.
That would be stupid to drive like down the road to go to Starbucks when we're like here doing it. Like I had that thought, but I was like, I'm just going to say it out loud anyway, because this is where I am. And he looked at me and he was like, yeah, you can look at the menu on my app in the car. And
Oh.
I was like, in that moment, I was like, I needed that. I needed that so much because I was going through this whole like panic that was who knew where it was gonna go, but I was trying to like
Yep.
stay where I was. And and that's all he said. And it was just like plain and simple. Like I was like, I've never felt more like loved or seen
Mm.
before. And it was so sweet. And it just kind of like it kind of snapped me out of it.
Yeah, because
Like,
you're in the spiral, and then
yeah,
there's just acceptance, and this is fine, and that's fine, and you don't have to do anything special.
yeah,
You just
yeah.
asked for what you needed.
And I was like, okay. And then and then I was like, oh, and then I was like, I don't need to cry right now. He's like, no. I mean, he would always say like, not unless you need to. Like,
Yeah.
don't cry unless you need to. That's fine. But I was like, oh, I don't need to. I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be okay. And then and then we went out into the car and I ordered my drink on the app, and when we got to Starbucks, it was ready to pick it up. So that worked out well.
Yeah. Good
Um,
job.
yeah. So
It's
I felt like,
really hard asking for what you need when you're in the spiral.
yeah, yeah. And then I like, of course, all of the like self judgments on top
Hmm.
of it.
I mean,
And
you even did it in the storytelling. You're like, it's stupid to go down the road when we're here.
yeah, right, right.
And then you have this human looking at you and being like, yeah, sounds totally normal to me. Let's go.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, thank you.
Yeah. It's really
Um,
loving and sweet.
yeah. So I felt very proud of myself for asking for what I needed.
Hmm.
Like, even though I was having those judgments, I was like, I'm doing it anyway. Like, that felt like a really big, like, step. And then to be met with that, like, reaction, um, it also feels ridiculous to me to say, like, wow, that was such a healing moment there in, like, the line at the cafe. Like, it's like, you know?
I know both things. Yes. I know what you mean by, oh, that's giving a mundane moment
Mm-hmm.
a lot of weight. And also, yeah, that's a weighty realization and process and outcome,
Yeah.
especially when there's one thing. So it's like multiple levels because it's like one thing to go through the spiral, but like you were in it and able to, what's the word? Not pull yourself out of it, but act in it. Like you didn't have to walk yourself out of the spiral to get to the saying what you needed, or you were just in the spiral actively and still like making choices and decisions when the spiral normally is a space that doesn't allow for that. That's like, ooh, cycle breaking. That's why. Like that mundane
Mhm.
moment is like this big cycle breaker of like, oh, I don't have to just not have any agency when I'm in the spiral. Like I can still exercise a little bit of care for myself in that. Like is that like the shorthand for like, oh, I don't need to cry? Because like, I don't need to be stuck here. I don't need to
I
just
think
have a
I
meltdown.
think so. Yeah, I think so because I just felt so overwhelmed in that
Yeah.
moment that I was like I didn't know what to do because I knew that like I really wanted to get a coffee
Mm-hmm.
and but I literally like couldn't figure out what that was. And I was just like this is it. This is the end. Like cry because I can't do anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
And then I
frustration. Mm-hmm.
and then it hit me and I was like maybe that's not the only option.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty wild.
Yeah, like I said, that's like a huge cycle break. I'm so proud of you. It's
Thank
such
you.
good work.
Thank you.
And I like the idea it's like forging a new pathway. So like
Hmm.
the next time a spiral happens, you'll know that there's another pathway. And like it can only get like easier and easier to navigate down the way that's more helpful than the tried and true, just deeper in the twirl of, oh no, all systems offline. All the
Because
sirens
that's, I mean, that was another option then that I considered in my head. I was like, Okay, well, I just don't order a drink. I don't say anything. Get in the car and I go into like silent mode where then,
mm-hmm.
yeah, everything shuts down. And then I'm like so internal that I can't anything. And then I'm like, I've gone so deep down the spiral that I'm like way underground. And, then I wouldn't have been able to like enjoy my cookie. I wouldn't have been able to enjoy that time with my partner because I would have been, so deep down in it. And like, I was like, maybe I don't have to do that. Maybe I can still get a drink.
Yeah, get what you
And yeah.
want. It's really creative thinking, which is hard to do when you're in that nervous system activation space.
To be honest, I don't know where it came from. You know,
I would guess
like,
you've been doing a lot of practice, and
okay.
this is the benefit of that.
Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I think
Yeah.
that's where it came from.
Okay. So
Well,
it just,
again, like that pathway, like you build these pathways all the time. You're constantly working on stuff like this in
mhm.
harder moments, less hard moments. And so, you know, you've already created the groove. And so when your mind was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, it was like you were able to kind of direct into the groove that you had already been making,
Wow.
which is probably why it felt so big because what, even a couple of years ago, I don't know about you, but I know that's something I wouldn't have been able to do.
I wouldn't even have known what was going on. Like
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have any clue. Yeah, I would have left without a drink and just feeling like super overwhelmed and like I was the problem.
Yeah, and disappointed and then
Yeah.
upset and
And then
yeah.
just beating myself up
And then
about
also trying
it.
to mask it.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh,
was like would
yeah.
try to hide that's happening too because like I'm embarrassed and then I'm beating myself up and then I'm in a
Hmm.
different spiral.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you said that because I was actually, as I was like thinking about this, I was wondering how did I even come up with that idea of, of another option of something else to do? Like that I think maybe like dumbfounded me more.
I mean, I'm gonna point out something really obvious that your entire business model is about doing things in a different way that works for you, however that looks.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to say you've been practicing this a lot. Like a lot. Personally, professionally,
See,
with
I see.
others.
So maybe that is just how my brain works. And since I have been doing all of this work, I now am seeing it happen in real time instead
Hmm.
of being like clouded by all the big stuff
Hmm.
that I've
And I
been
think
carrying with me.
and isn't there like a weird little piece in there about like, oh, I deserve to have some things. Like, I don't know if this will resonate with you, but there was this idea that I had to earn certain things by doing it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And if I couldn't do it the right way, then it's like it felt like I didn't deserve to have whatever it was. So if I couldn't walk up to a counter and order a thing, well, I guess I just don't get to have that thing then. Instead of like that super nurturing and caring part that says, no, you can have the thing. It doesn't have to look that way. It could
Mm-hmm.
just look a different way.
I think for me, it would have also been, or maybe been paired with the, um, well, even if I did just order something, like, because I had the experience that I went through, because I was like panicking and overwhelmed, and because I like got in the car and started crying, and, like, because all of that happened, like, I'm a failure. Like, I can't order a coffee. Like, I can't, like, even though I did the thing, like, it would be
Wouldn't
like
have
that.
counted.
Yeah. Like, I would discount the whole situation because I struggled and couldn't, like a normal person, order a coffee
Oh yeah, that
in all
phrase,
these
like a normal
books.
person.
Like,
Oh, have I bludgeoned myself with that before? Yeah, been there, done that.
hmm.
Hmm. I'm really, really proud of you.
Thank
And
you.
I'm very flattered you wrote it down because you wanted to share it with me too. That feels really good.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for, thank you for being a space where I want to come and share these things, and where I of course want to hear these things from you.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you.